That's right, I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Hello, Knick family. Welcome to the recap and reaction show. I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen, joined by Knick Nation. I got some stuff going on in the house right now, and I'm getting a call from the plumber. But I'm gonna finish this intro before I answer. The Knicks have lost 3 straight. Last night was the latest to Philadelphia. What was that? 130 to 119. A lot to talk about, you know, in terms of what we think went into the loss last night and what we think went into this 3-game losing streak. I want to know what the vibes are from the Knick family. Are we panicking? It's just a natural bump in the road that, you know, teams go through. Some people feel like adversity is good. So I'm really interested in what you have to say. I'm joined by Knick Nation. I think this is your first time on the recap show. He was gracious enough to join me this morning. Knick Nation, how are you? And just give me a brief overview of the game last night.
Oh, I'm pretty good. And hello to everybody out there in the chat. Last night's game, definitely tough. I thought immediately that the lineup that Mike Brown presented was a little bit awkward, considering that Mitch had been out for 3 games. I thought maybe he probably shouldn't have started, and maybe they probably should have, put somebody in like Diawara or something like that. So, okay, no problem. Yeah, I thought maybe like as far as Diawara probably should have entered the game. Mitch, as great as a player as he is, being out 3 games, he may not be a shooter, but still people who get rebounds, block shots, it's a rhythm. And, and if you're out for a week or so, coming back into maybe a slower process point of it, and it really just seemed harsh. But the bottom line is why we lost that game or these few 3 games. It's been really tough. Our wing players have not been good. Let's just call it for what it is. OG has not been has his shooting has definitely been off since he's come back. Mikhail hasn't really stepped up to that point of where we can feel like, he's processing the game as a number 2 or even lately even as a number 3. Our perimeter defense has definitely been, the 3-point area has come back and bite us again. And we're a 3-point shooting team. And there's a certain points we just couldn't get it done. Shooting wise, we have our real bad ups and downs. And Deuce McBride looked great. There's a few players, the young players, I definitely enjoyed what they were, what they still bring to the table. It's been the veterans that have been a little bit disappointing. Clarkson has been very erratical in these last 3 games, very up and down. The defensive presence is there. He's doing his, he's working, trying to get his best in. But as far as on offense, the consistency has just not been, there. So the cohesive unit, with players coming in, players coming out, it looks like continuity is broken at times. We're definitely not on the same string. And a few places where I thought Mike Brown, maybe could have implemented, different players into the game. I thought at the start of that second quarter, when Brunson was out, that Kolek immediately probably should have been in the game. We couldn't get into a rhythm. And right from there, it seems like they just kind of attacked us, and we couldn't get into any offensive rhythm. We missed multiple shots. It's a make or miss league, and we definitely missed a lot of open shots as well. So I just think it's that we, the process point of the continuity with players coming back, you know, and we have to make an additional effort on those swing plays to get outside. Those guys were sharp last night, and that's just really what hurt us.
Yeah, yeah. I apologize for that. I have some stuff going on in the background, so I may have to be out to open the door or something like that. But I didn't want to cancel the show
Yeah.
because this is either a praise meeting or a therapy show. Today might be
So
more
true.
therapy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard, part of what you said, and I agree that I do think it's multiple things going on right now. I don't think we've lost each of the last 3 games for the same reason. I think the not playing up to our defensive standard, because we've played better defensively. I get it. We're not a great defensive team, but we have played better defensively in the past. In the past few games, we haven't even done that. I think it's a fine line with Mike Brown in terms of playing players, going 10, 11, 12 does help in the sense that that's less wear and tear on the starters, right? So that they're fresher in the fourth quarter, they're fresher even later on in the season and into the playoffs. But there's a fine line there as well, because when you play so many players, one, you get in 2, 3, 4 minutes. I mean, I'm not sure how much you can do in that time, but again, it does help that you're taking minutes away from the starter. So it does help in that sense. But in terms of continuity, remember when we started the season, this is how we started. A whole lot of players, in and out, in and out. And Mike Brown said, you know what? I think it was my fault. I think I was extending it too much. I think we need to tighten it up a little bit. And the Knicks were able to get on a little roll. Now, I think injuries has been part of opening up the rotation. But I also think, 10 games and 18 nights, if I'm not mistaken, since the Cup or including the Cup, playing every other night, he may feel like I want to, lengthen the rotation just because we've been playing so much as well. So it's that balance between opening up the rotation, giving guys rest, keeping them fresh, and continuity, like that type of balance. And the other thing in terms of continuity, remember, Bride has been out all of this time. He's been back 2 games. Mitch has been out 3 games. He came back last night. Hart has been out. Hart is our secondary ball handler. He's our secondary playmaker. He's been out. I get it. I don't think, Hart is the key to our, defense. But in terms of offense, the offense has not looked great at all. I think that fluidity on offense, the space on offense, I think those, let me know in the chat if you are, keying in on the schematics. I understand some schematics, but I don't understand it at the NBA level just yet to talk about it fluently. But I will say this. I wonder if teams are figuring out the Knicks in terms of how they like to play. Crowding Brunson, taking away the passing lanes. We don't have anybody other than Brunson that can get in the lane and create advantages, right? So now OG and Bridges, when they get those 3-point shots, they're not as good and clean looks, as they were. They're a little bit more contested now. And this goes back to me, you can never have enough shooters, but you can never have enough ball handlers, in my opinion, that can initiate offense and get into the key and create for themselves and for their teammates. And we don't have a lot of that. And so the offense is stagnant. I thought last night, I would have liked to have seen more pick and roll with Cat and Brunson at the top of the key, bring Embiid out of the key, have him guard in space. If they switch, now it's Brunson, on Embiid. If they don't, I like Cat versus Embiid, at least this version of Embiid at the top of the key, and in terms of him driving and going around. He did it a few times. I would have liked to have seen more of that because I think that pick and roll would have created some advantages for us as well. depending on how Philly played it. But yeah, the defense is not good, but the offense, and the Knicks are more of an offensive team, in my opinion, than a defensive team. The offense has not looked good either. Anything else you want to add, or where you want to go next? We'll get to the
Yeah,
chat as well. We appreciate you guys rocking with us on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, I definitely think as far as piggybacking on, as you said, as far as them figuring us out, it's typically, our swing looks somewhat similar to a horseshoe. And when those begins to point at those passing lanes, that's what they were doing. They just were cutting off the points of the horseshoe. So, because you can basically see it's that swing, that same swing, boom, 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 and then it starts going around. But what they were smart enough to do at times was crowd us and cut some of the passing lane points off, which definitely hurt us. Our failure to get Brunson downhill, our failure to get any of our guards downhill, it's like what we need to probably do is start the pick and roll points really right past half court, so you can give Brunson more of a chance to get spacing and get downhill. Because even when he's coming off these curls and picks, he's still so extremely crowded. The spacing point for him is terrible. But also, I just thought Brunson is our best player, and we definitely need him. But last night, too, once again, I just thought it was a little bit too much Brunson, a little too much ball handling. They have to find a way to get easier shots in the paint. They have to find a way to actually get more spacing. It's just too crowded. He's got, even when he puts the guy on his back, he's still got a guy, one or two guys in front of him. And maybe it's point of Brunson. They're not swinging that ball enough. It's not going back door. But the real bottom line to me in these last 3 games is our wing players has just not played well. OG has not shot well. Mikhail has not shot well from those points.
And can I just
without those two,
can I add real quick to what the point you just about? And when they're not playing well, teams are going to take the chance and crowd Brunson, right? If those guys are shooting well, Brunson gets more space. Because I'm trying to figure out what's the difference between our offense 2 weeks ago and our offense now. If those guys are not shooting well, there's no need to respect them. Let's see. They start hitting a few shots, then we'll adjust. But they're not shooting well right now. We know they're capable. They're not shooting. We're going to crowd Brunson. We're going to crowd the passing lanes. Let them beat us. And they haven't done that. Remember, there was a time from the corner 3, OG was shooting like 689%. Mikhail was shooting like 569%. Teams had to respect that. There was so much space. Now, it just seems like there isn't any. Like the space has just evaporated. But go ahead.
Yeah, we can't. And then, letting players like Edgecombe come in. And Edgecombe is young. He's a really good player. It's probably going to be a great player in this league. But even with a young player, the first thing to do with a young player, like anybody, is to give him 1 point of a good fake, because he's going to jump, because he's young like that. And, the ability to stay down is what's name. And we didn't fake a lot. We didn't attack the closeouts a lot. We still, and when we did attack the closeout, we gave Embiid off the hook, because Embiid, like you say, he couldn't get off the ground really. And when he does have to get off the ground, he knows he's at risk of injuring that knee. So he really doesn't too tough. And then we let him off the hook a lot of times by not consistently attacking him. And, Towns is, the foul calling situation thing is tough. He's, you could see again last night. I think he almost didn't he get a tech again last night for yelling about it? He's mentally got to somehow get stronger. I mean, granted, some of those calls are tough. Some of the physicality that he's, receiving is tough, but it's not changing. You know what I mean? You could bitch and moan about it, but it's not changing. And he has to somehow learn to, to play past it. And right now he's not. And that's hurt. And it's hurting him mentally. We all know he's a better player than that. But what's going on with him, getting into these lags, it's tough. It's tough to watch. It's like he's, I can't use the word suffering, but he's having a tough go at this offense right now. He's really, you could just see it. It's lumbering on him. It's laboring on him. It's not smooth. It's not smooth at all. And even though he, made an concerted effort to make more attempts last night, it just still, to me, just looks like a rough ride. That
Who are we talking about now?
About Cat, as far as Cat, nothing's coming smoothly. Yeah, nothing's coming smoothly. And I really have concerns over that. That we haven't found him better ways to get his shot up, cleaner looks, things like that. And I think we need, we've got to make more emphasis on it. It's tough to have that much value as far as the money in a player and then the production not be there and not have, full support of somebody who can, back up or whatever it may be. But we need him to play well.
Yeah. First of all, let me just ask in the chat, we'll talk about the defense. I don't think that's our bread and butter. It does need to be better, but we will talk about the defense. What has changed with the offense? Is it just that Josh Hart is out? What's going on with the offense that it's not looking as fluid as it once did? But to piggyback off of what you're saying as far as Cat is concerned, some people will say, we can't win a championship with Cat on this team. I'm going to say we can't win a championship with Cat being featured. Jerrell brought that point up. Remember we was on the show the other night?
Yes.
He was like, because, Bridges and OG are good in their roles in terms of what they do. But they're not shot creators per se, though they can attack a closeout. Don't get me wrong. They can go off the dribble, but I mean, consistently known as that. Probably not. Bridges more so than OG. I think there's value in Cat in terms of his game that we're not getting the most out of. And we've talked about this ad nauseum. How much of this is Brunson? How much of this is Cat? How much of this is schematics? Last night, I just felt like, how are we using Cat? Like, versus Embiid. Now, obviously, you're not going to put him down in the post against Embiid. I just feel like that's a mute. He doesn't have an advantage there. But in space, he does. Now, he wasn't hitting his three-point shots last night. That continues. Last night, he was 0 for 5. He did go to the line 12 times and hit 11 of them. So he was being aggressive last night, for sure. Didn't shoot well from the field. He took 16 shots, only made 6. But 16 field goals, 12 free throw attempts, you were getting touches last night. He was getting touches.
Exactly.
Whether they were the right touches, whether we could have, had Embiid in action a bit more. He had 14 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 turnovers, 2 personal fouls, 23 and 14, 4 offensive rebounds. To me, last night, I felt like it was more schematics. Like he got his touches, don't get me wrong. I just felt like, could we have used him a little differently? Embiid played 33 minutes, 26 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. He also went to the line 12 times.
Yeah.
Both of them were pretty active.
It's no real. There has to be more of a creative, shot patterns coming to them. Even Mikal is not great coming off the wing once he closes out, because that's not where his angle where he shoots from. He needs to so his route to where he has to go to shoot from, it's taking more time. It's taking him out of his direct path because he's not a good baseline shooter. He shoots more so from a point of an angle, going toward the basket in a sense and coming downhill or that stop and then him, fading back. But he's great at shooting from the outside in the 3-point area. But once he has to close in a sense, he doesn't, it's not a straight line. So that, there's, like you say, it's just been multiple things with multiple players, multiple players out of place, multiple players out of sync. Josh Hart does affect a lot of that. And the reason why Josh Hart affects a lot of that is his pace of the game. Our pace of the game is just slow. You know, Josh Hart is due to at least 5-6 times where he is on the break, you know, snatch that ball off the rebound and he's coming downhill. Didn't see any of that last night, you know, at all. If we didn't get a steal, you know what I mean? You don't see that. OGs makes more of an asserted effort to get rebounds, but that's not part of his game. You know, to bringing it coast to coast like that, that's not really his thing. For lack of point of better, who's at it, but Hart really is the point in which that's the one we use for that. And right now, we're missing him because he, you know, that little bit of point, that 8 points, that 10 points that throws in there makes us a different team. You know, even 8 to 10 points last night would have made us a point of a different look team. We're struggling in this 3-game stretch. We got another tough one coming up for Detroit, so we better find some answers fast. That's what I know.
Do you think it's as simple as lack of shot making? Because last night we didn't shoot as bad as we shot versus Atlanta, but we didn't shoot great. 42.7% overall, 40% from threes is fine. But Anunoby was okay last night. 3 of 5 from 3. Karl Anthony Towns was 0 of 5. Mikal Bridges was 2 of 8. Do you think it's a matter of just shot making, or do you think it's more than that?
I think it's two things. One, it is definitely shot making because, you know, to make a mislead, and we have become, or that's what the team goal is. We've become a 3-point shooting team. We shoot, you know what I mean, on the average over 40-something threes a game, and sometimes we shooting at 50 of them. So if you're not, you know, it's kill or be killed as far as with that jumper, and that's just where we're at right now, and we're missing, and we're not, but still also, even though we're not making them, we're still not playing the point of defense of where we need to be at, because in order to still even to get 119, I mean, you know, and to give up 130, no, we got to play better defense because we still almost pretty much hit our average of being in that 120 range, but then giving up, you know what I mean, way too much on the other end. And also, second half, fourth quarter, we're playing with more desperation. We need to play like that the whole game. If you notice, right, the last 2 games we played at those end of those games, played with desperation, scattering, moving, and doing whatever we could. And we would make an assertive effort to come back somewhat. We got to play that way the whole game. We you know, I don't know what that cut might have went to our head. And right now, we got to get out of it.
Yeah, something is definitely off the last 3 games energetically. You know, are they tired though? I mean, the rotation has been expanded. Those guys are not playing like 40 minutes, you know, 40 minutes a game. Yeah, I don't know about the, you know, about the tired thing, but, you know, but it's possible. Like I said in the beginning, I just think there's multiple things going on at the same time. And remember, some of those games we won, we were grinding it out. Like those games that we won, I was like, wow. Teams took away our 3-point shooting, we went in the paint. Teams was taking away this, we found the way to win. We're just finding ways to win. It's not pretty. We're just figuring it out and find. Like that was all the way up, because I remember each game coming in for the recap, pretty much saying the same thing. Like, wow, this team is good. Like they're fine. They're taking away this. We're figuring it out. We're grinding. We're figuring it out. We're hitting timely shots. We're getting timely stops. And we're pulling out these wins. Wow, this is a gritty team. And when we saw that in San Antonio as well, but that was the game where we lost. Because coming into that game, I'm like, wow, we're down some key pieces. And the Knicks fought and they scrapped and they took, you know, Castle and a few of their players pretty much out of the game, right? Champagne basically had to step up for them. And I'm like, wow. And we lost that game. It was like that was the end of the grit.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. That hurt.
is there something catching up with the Knicks? You know, is it were we getting away with just good shot making? Our defense wasn't great, but we were just hitting shots because we were like we were shooting like 50 something percent. You know, we won a game 135 to 133 or something like that. Like we weren't playing defense, but the shots were going and the offense was great, and we were matching whatever we were giving up on the defensive end. Is it possible that the offense is struggling for whatever reason, and the defense just hasn't been good, and now the poor offense is just kind of catching up with us to the point where if the Knicks don't shoot well, the offense is not humming, they're just not going to win. They're just not going to win.
Yeah. Defensively. Yeah. Defensively, I honestly think as much as I love that he's playing so many players at certain times in a game or per game, I think it's too many. I think that these guys, playing a guy 4 minutes, 3 minutes, I think more so it should be probably more, closer to 10, 12. Bringing a guy in, one guy in for 2-3 minutes, one guy in for 8 minutes. We've expanded it so much, but to get continuity as far as on defense, and, because if you got a different guy all of a sudden, 2-3 minutes, he misses an assignment or we didn't have that discussion, they bring in a different player. There's so many alignments that just, keep happening. And we need that alignment point to be, where the communication is better, because there is definitely defensive breakdowns in each game. And each time these defensive breakdowns keep happening, we get burnt, the doubling on the players. Sometimes we're doubling on players we have no business doubling on. Right. Sometimes you just have to, say, hey, to take it on your back, take it on defensively and do your best. But then once that double comes, it seems to hurt us, because these are 3-point shooting teams, and it seems to always be, boom, that 3-pointer open. Why? I'd rather even give the guy the 2. I'd rather even give the guy the lane, than these 3-pointers that they're sitting here, killing us with. And last night, their starting unit, they have really 4 good defenders that were on us. You know what I mean? And Embiid used to be a good defender. He's not still the West anymore. But they gave us, they were on us. They gave us problems. They, some of these guys, they're speeding up their shots instead of taking what they get, what's given, instead of attacking that closeout a lot stronger. And also, and as you attack the closeout, there always should be somebody coming down the lane as well that you can pass off to. And a lot of those temperaments are not there. So when you see a guy attacking the closeout, his players behind him, there's a guy in front of him, there's an open guy someplace. But what are we doing? We're not filling those lanes, and we're not filling them aggressively. Most players always too, that their centers are always coming down that point of that lane when that happens. I don't see that much with us, and which is a little weird and a little concerning. But if you notice other teams, once they attack that point of that closeout, either their center or power forward or whoever it is coming usually down that lane, usually looking to get an easy dunk. I haven't seen that much with us, and it seemed to be a little, I don't know. Our offense it's not in sync. It's not in sync at all.
Yeah, it's not. And I'm not, the only thing I could think of, and I may have to rewatch the game, is, has Philly, San Antonio, have they figured something out with the Knicks? Because remember, this happened last year as well. If you remember, when we started the season, we had this free-flowing offense as well, passing, cutting, and what have you. Then teams started putting their their center on Josh Hart, which allowed their center to be kind of in the paint now, more wings on Cat that I felt like we didn't take advantage of last season, and that kind of slowed our offense down. I'm wondering if, obviously, this is not the center on Josh Hart thing because Josh Hart is out, but have teams figured out something about the Knicks and their offense and how to slow it down a little bit, because it has looked stagnant the past few games. And what I'm seeing is pressure on Brunson, which hasn't been a problem. You know, he can deal with that. But are there any outlets? Like it's pressure on Brunson and those outlets aren't there that could be slowing down the offense. Again, those who are well versed schematically, I would appreciate if you could just drop it in the chat in terms of you know what you're seeing. Defensively last night, the Sixers shot 54% from the field, 47% from three. Knicks have a defensive rating of 121.6 over the last 3 games, which is 23rd in the league. The last 5 games, they've been 24th in the league. Remember, at one point, the Knicks were 13, 14, 15. But over the past, 3-5 games, they're like bottom of the league, as far as defensive, rating is concerned. We're missing our we're missing second points. Listen, Robinson played last night. Robinson did not look good. The Knicks didn't look good, right? But the hope was, we get Robinson back against Embiid, that would help, slow Embiid down, a little bit. And that just wasn't, the case. I don't want to like single him out, by himself, because I think at the point of attack defense, I thought Deuce was solid. And guys was just making shots. Like it wasn't like he wasn't there and he wasn't, getting over screens. And now he was. They just make the shots anyway, right? But everybody else, I thought like OG and Mikal over the past few games have not been great defensively. And Mitchell Robinson last night wasn't good either.
No.
And when you have Brunson and Cat, it is a lot of pressure to put on those other 3 guys that they have to be on pretty much every night defensively to cover up for Brunson and and the Towns, who have to be better. Like we know they're not defensive juggernauts, but you got to at least get to your spot. You got to at least fight over screens. You got to be a good team defender if you're not a good individual defender. And I think they're lacking in that department over the last few games as well. I'm not sure what the answer is. I would like to see Mike Brown tighten the rotation. Pick the 2 young guys that you're gonna put in to take Shamet and Hart spot. Who's gonna be the young guy that you put in when Robinson doesn't play? Maybe that's Huck Porty. And that's what it is. And you're rolling with those guys. Everybody know what it is. Hart is out, McCullough is in. Or Hart is out, Diawara is in until Hart gets back. Shaman is out, we're rolling with this or maybe you're increasing Clark's. Whatever you're doing to cover up for those guys, let it be consistent. This is what it is. This is how we're rolling. I think it's important for guys to know who they're playing with. When I'm coming in, when I'm coming out. Okay, this is the rotation now. Okay, so-and-so is in. I know he's going to be handling the ball now. I'm going to be off the ball now. Like some sort of continuity until we're back whole.
Yeah. It's also too is, the last few games, Brunson's, as far as catch and shoot, it's been down, more dribbling.
Yep.
That and the difference between him and Kolek at a lot of times is Kolek makes great even hockey assist pass or spacing as far as a pass. Brunson doesn't tend to do that a lot of times. So a lot of times if, the distance and then what it takes for a defender to, to cover that space, that has to happen more. The off-ball action has to happen more. And honestly, my opinion, as far as why our defense is horrible, at times it's because we don't put in the work prior to the guy getting the ball. That's the real difference, like even when you say like playoff basketball and things like that, and where Tibbs was really concerned in that. Tibbs was good in that area where he would make sure that when you did go to defend the guy, that you knew that comfortability of that area where that player is supposed to be in, and you put in that work prior to. Because once a guy has it in his area, it's too late. You've got to then take him off of his path way prior to that. And that's not what we're doing. We're trying to catch up to these guys once they're in their area. They're in their sweet spot already. The way to play defense is to route a guy. I'm not letting you even get in this sweet area. And if you are, I'm on top of your hip and I'm on top of your head. But we're not doing that. We're allowing these guys to get comfortable in their areas and get either downhill on us, and even if we stop them downhill, the link of not communicating properly causes these unnecessary doubles. Then that ball's on that swing and rotation. It catches us every time. I see it coming. I'm yelling at the TV. So that's probably why my voice sounds like this too, because Dexter was yelling at that TV last night. So forgive me. But, we got to do better. And like I say, I think his right now is too many. It's good to bring in, like you say, some of these young players and give them this, rapid on fire experience. But we got to make some hard line decisions. This trade deadline thing can't come fast enough, in my opinion, because this, I personally, I'm not blaming on him, but I'm tired of seeing Yabusele in there. I just think that we have other players. I think that could go to Diawara. I just think he's a better defender. I think he's better in the right place. I think he could keep up with guys better. I think, his 3-point shot may not be as good as what's name, but I'm willing to live with that because I think he is in the right place on defense so much more, than Yabusele. Yabusele to me is not really bringing much to this team at all. And at this stage, I know you're trying to feature him because this is a business. And, in order to say, hey, this, make him somewhat attractive to our other team, you got to see him somewhat. But it's not been happening with us stuff. So, I'm not sure if we lost stuff or not. But, yeah, this team here is we're in a desperate tailspin. This is when teams lock in and, veterans, make it at a point where, hey, don't give up the faith, keep pushing what we do, and shooters shoot. And a lot of times I think, OG, he has to make a decision. And his point in his career here is that, hey, am I a shooter? Because shooters shoot. And what he's doing is starting to aim, throw it this way, turn his body this way. It looks terrible. It looks bad. So he's got to be better.
I want to piggyback off the Yabusele Diawara. Yabusele played just 4 minutes last night, so he wasn't a big factor. Diawara played just 2, but this is the thing with Diawara. You have to balance what he brings and what he doesn't bring. So if you're not a good 3-point shooter, then you're not going to create space. So if you're not creating space, then they're laying off of you, and now whoever's guarding Diawara can now crowd Brunson, can roam a little bit, can create issues. Remember, the Knicks' bread and butter is offense, and that offense starts with spacing. Like, the Knicks have to do whatever they can to maximize space. And when you have Diawara in it, because look, he went from starting to now only getting 2 minutes, and kudos to Mike Brown for wanting to see, like I'm not going to just see what it says on paper. I'm going to put him in a game, and I'm going to gather data on Diawara when he's in the game, and not just how he plays, but how we play when he's in the game. And I think the limited minutes is because of the Josh Hart effect last year. You don't have to guard him. Now, he did have a good stretch where over 2 games he hit 7 in a row or something like that. But for the most part, you don't have to guard him. And so now you're going back and forth between his length and his defense can definitely help us. And we're missing that on this team. But then on the offensive end, this is the negatives. So just really trying to, balance that out. And I think, Mike Brown maybe can be a little better. And again, I don't want to criticize him too heavy because he's the coach. He has all of the factors in his head and on his clipboard, factors that I'm not even thinking about when I'm thinking maybe he should do this, maybe he should do that. I'm pretty sure he got 5 factors, 5 reasons why he's not doing that. So I don't want to criticize him too much. I just wonder if there's a way to better balance the lineups, offensively and defensively. You know, you know, I know when you put those defensive lineups in, you really hampering your offense. And I think somebody asked him in the press conference, well, why did you put Deuce in, or why did you do? He said, we needed offense. We needed offense. So the Knicks have players like Diawara who's can really help on the defensive end. Offensively, it's hit or miss. And then they have players who are really good offensively, like Brunson, and defensively, it's hit or miss. So it's not easy for a coach to maximize lineups, but maybe he can be a little bit more better. But players also have to perform in those lineups as well.
I just think at a point you have to live with something, and keep trying to balance that point of that scale. And I just don't see it working. And I just think you got to live with something at one point. So, the one thing I do give Diawara as well is that if he gets that mismatch, it's not like he's thinking about it. He instantly knows, I got a guy 6'5", 6'4" on me. I'm going to bounce him down on the inside. The same thing could happen with Yabusele, and he will not. He will still, sit back out there and do that three. And then on the defensive end, only reason why I'm kind of pushing for it is because he'll give up, you know what I mean? He could be in the game 3-4 minutes. He'll give up 6 to 8 points quickly. He'll give up a point of a turnover. He'll do things, where he's not in the right place. This kid is at least in the right place. So I just think that Yabusele minutes are ineffective when he's in there. I think we've seen enough of him that we go, this format for him is not for him, on another.
I don't disagree, but I just don't think Yabusele is our problem. Yabusele doesn't play a lot of minutes. Like if you told me Yabusele was playing like 15, 17 minutes and those minutes could be better used by Diawara, I get it. But Yabusele is not hardly playing himself. He has DMPs. He's getting in for I get what you're saying as far as Yabu is concerned. I just don't think he's getting enough minutes to be a factor. Last night he played 3 minutes and 42 seconds.
I just think he's one of the problems. But I just think that I'm just harping on that point is because there's some point of a scale we need to condense it. And I think right now is that, little roles like that need to be condensed. Even McCullough needs to be condensed because we offer developing, but you can't develop that many at that given point in time, So, trying to develop 5 or 6 of guys, that's too much for as much as, we have on this team.
Who are the 2 guys you would want to see the Knicks prioritize?
Kolek, one, because I just think he brings, he makes the team better. He makes other players better. He makes it easier shots for them. So Kolek would definitely be one of them. Now I'd have to sit down and say to myself, is it going to be McCullough or is it going to be Diawara? I don't think that you can do both and then say, hey, well, I'm still going to have Clarkson coming in. I still got Deuce coming in, I still got Hulk Porty coming in. Our numbers are really getting up on the higher end of scale because the ones that we are bringing in, we could say some of them are second-year players, but they're really not. A lot of them are first-year players because they're really starting to get, real minutes during the game. Not those condensed minutes that at the end of a game, the last 2 minutes that they throw them in there and things like that, where game's out of reach, where a game is actually in reach and in the process of a real game. A lot of these guys are somewhat rookies. So but it's you can't do 5 or 6 of them. That's just a little too much,
Yeah.
we got to hone in a bit. That's the only where I'm coming from, and that's why I was hopping in on what's name is because I just think that we got to condense someplace and figure it out, and they got to be a lot more verbal on defense.
For
It's
sure.
happening way too much.
If I had to pick, I would at this point, having seen, they haven't got extensive minutes, but just from what I've seen, I would prioritize Kolick and McCullough. I think Diawara is too raw. I like his length and his defense. I love his confidence. But I think McCullough is much more, he has a higher floor. Diawara may have a higher ceiling, but McCullough has a higher floor. He's a very heady player. And he's not out there looking to shoot. Like sometimes I feel Diawara is shooting too much. Like I feel like that's not, obviously if you're open, don't get me wrong, and they're daring you to shoot, like you need to take that shot within the flow of the offense. That's not what I'm talking about. I just think sometimes he's just forcing it. And I just don't think that's his role. And I think McCullough, when he's out there, he's just steady. Defensive rebounds, offensive rebounds, defense, being where he's supposed to be. I just feel like he's a much more polished. Might be he's a bit more polished than Diawara right now. So for me, it would be Kolick, McCullough, and when Robinson is out, Huck Porty. That's it. And I think everybody else would have to wait their turn. And even Kolick, I think last night, I felt like he was shooting too much. Like make things easier for the team, particularly how the game. Now, he probably had a hard time. I have to rewatch the game. He probably had a hard time too trying to get in the key against those guards. Remember, Grimes, Edgecombe, I'm missing one, Maxey. They ain't giving it up defensively, right? Even the fact that Grimes can shoot, we already know he was here. He's a very good perimeter defender. It's not easy for Kolick to get into the key as well. Excuse me. But I feel like that's more of his role, setting people up, than it is shooting. Like there was one time he came down, and again, it was just one shot. I'm not going to kill him. And I'm like, yo, there was people like to the left or the right of you, and you pulling up for a three. So I'm not going to kill him. He was +6. He was +6 last night. I'm not going to kill him. Well, I'm sorry. Wait, hold on. That was points. That was points. He had 6 points last night. I don't know.
2 3-pointers he had.
He was +2. He was +2 last night, and it was only like 3 people were in a plus. He was one of them. For those that's into plus minus, but yeah.
What was his assist numbers? Because let me tell you something. He hit some guys. Yeah, and that's the crazy part, is that he hit some guys with point blank passes. They just missed the shots. They were great passes. They just missed the shot.
Yeah, he was 2 of 7 last night.
They miss him. Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna kill him. I would have to go back and look at each shot. Like I feel like if you're taking those shots within the flow of the game, it's fine. It's fine. But if you're like forcing it, or like if there were better options that you could have moved it, one more pass, then do that. All right, let's get to the chat, because we can piggyback off of the chat as well. We appreciate you guys joining us. Those that's going to watch later, the replay gang, I appreciate you as well. And then always the silent listeners, we appreciate you. So let's get into this. Let's start with the super chat from David Smith. Appreciate you, David Smith, always rocking with us. Appreciate the generous super chat. People have to start questioning Brunson as a team player. He couldn't develop chemistry with Randall, and now he can't develop chemistry with Cat. I mean, that was one of the things the front office, was it the front office? Whatever statement they put out, it was really wanting somebody that can help maximize that Cat and Brunson pairing. And I really haven't seen much of it this year either. Now, is that Brunson, on the pick and rolls, not hitting Cat as much? I know he rejects screens a lot. Is it schematics or a lack of emphasis from the coach? Listen, when you come off those screens, you got to look for Cat, because that opens up other opportunities for us. So you can still get the ball back. I'm not sure what it is, but I agree with you, David Smith. I don't see that chemistry between Cat and Brunson at all.
He's 100% correct, because it's a weird thing too, because the pick there, they do picks. There's no roll though. Just be honest. When do you ever really see Cat roll to the basket? You know what I mean? You see the pick, but you don't see the roll. You see just more of, a flash of it, and then him step back into the 3-point areas.
More of a
But
pop.
he doesn't very rare. Yeah, it's more of a pick and pop, but it's never a point of a roll. And then that's where the weird part of it that I always, think is. It very rarely happens with Mitch either, because a lot of times they don't give Mitch the ball, handing him off the ball that far from the paint. So those easy baskets are not in our system. It just doesn't happen. Like if you think about back to the games and you really, watch them, that's the one floor point of it. We don't get, easy, quick baskets like that. It's just so rare. You see it a little bit sometime more with Kolick, and Kolick will lay the pass there down to what's name, which will kind of force Cat to kind of catch up to it and kind of force Cat to come down with it. But a natural point, if we just something that we do, nope. It's more of a pick and pop, never really pick and roll. So we got to find a way to get easier baskets. We just they got to come up with some system point to implement Cat and get him, smoother looks. And as David said, he might be right. Brunson has got to come off that ball faster. It's a hold. It's a dribble, hold, put a guy on your back, get a guy, coming off the screen, does that. And, he's got to make that hockey assist pass faster.
Yeah. How much is Brunson reverting to, being on the ball more a factor of guys just not being open? How much of it is him not being able to get into the key and create because he's being crowded? I do agree. Once he gets in there, he has to make his decision faster. You're going to shoot it. You're going to pass it. If they're crowding you, somebody is open. You got to make it
the swing.
quicker. But I just want to put up some responses to this super chat. Rebuild NYK. Even on the pop, got to give it to him. That's why I say still need another ball handler. Oh, that's about something else. Kev Berg, I actually wish Cat would demand the ball more. East Blue Drew, and when he does pass it, it's so random. People are not even ready for it. Sherman, appreciate you. You can't look for Cat. He's taken 30 feet shots without being set. I will not pass to Cat. I don't know if that's all the time off those pick and rolls, pick and pops. East Blue Drew, he stay in Kobe mode. Okay. All right. Let's get a few more.
We got to find a better way.
Yeah. Wiz BKLA, the season is over. We need Tibbs, Kimba, Knox, Frank, and Phil Jackson. Okay. Basically saying we might be overreacting. Cool Cal G. Is that Cool Cal G from back in the day? Nothing but Knicks? Not sure. The Philly backcourt is a terrible matchup for us. Don't disagree. But if Philly stays healthy, they're going to be there. And the Knicks are going to have to deal with them. Born Freedom, our defense is trash. Good morning to you. Good morning, Wonder Woman. She's listening while out doing errands. Yeah, I do that a lot as well. Appreciate you. Kerry Cox, Knicks are playing horribly, for sure. Andrew K, Knicks will have the advantage Monday with Pistons being on a back-to-back after Cleveland. Knicks should win. I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Yeah, we did play Philly on the two games we had with Philly have both been on our back-to-backs.
That's a factor as well. That's a factor.
Yeah.
D. Grant, this Knicks team is not built to win back-to-back games. Just overall, or the fact that we're just not healthy and missing players? Is that Heineken BX? Okay. Good morning. They look tired. Okay. Okay.
We're definitely not
I
aggressive. They're not aggressive. Besides Brunson at times, the rest of the players at times, you look at the last three games, there's been a multitude of overpassing. You know what I mean? Where guys are wide open sometime and they're not
right.
taking the shot. I've seen guys almost right the point of a layup and kick it out. And I'm looking like, what are you doing? Take the shot. You're in the paint. And it's biting us. That under aggression is biting us. And I think it's a lack of confidence. Our wings are right now, both of them are lacking confidence. Their shots are
Mhm.
not, you know,
I mean,
not
I
where they
get the
need to
shots
be.
are not falling, but you think it's a confidence issue as well?
Yes, 100%. Because you can look at times at OG when a player starts aiming a shot, it's definitely its confidence. Mikhail has just frozen at certain times and not even, know what to do with it, or he's passing it back off to somebody else. With We've had multiple shot clock come close to multiple shot clock violations. We're throwing the ball up, you know what I mean, with no time on the clock up basically left. And that usually comes from a lack of confidence.
I also think Philly's defense last night, anyway. Now, I'm not talking about all three games, but last night, Philly's defense has something to do with it as well. They were flying around. The Knicks weren't able to get the looks they're used to getting. The Knicks weren't able to get into the key as easily as they get into the key. Um, they had a lot to do with the Knicks offense looking stagnant. Um, it's going to be interesting to see what adjustments are made. Is this just a one-off? Like this just a bad stretch that the offense is just out of sync with players in and out of the lineups and nothing to worry about? Or like we talked about earlier, teams are kind of figuring out the Knicks a little bit and adjustments are going to have to be made. We'll see. I trust the coaching staff to delve into that and make the necessary changes.
But you got to
Bob
come up with
Solo?
a game plan as well, and to say, hey, you know, their center isn't, in the best condition. So just like anybody would do to us, how they hunt Brunson, I would have hunted Embiid and say,
I
hey,
agree.
I'm going to attack him. And we didn't have that mindset at all. And those are problems that we're running into. And as a high, as a team which we would like to hope that has a high IQ or striving to have a high IQ, you got to know things like that right off the back. And you got to go into a game plan saying that, yeah, I see that this guy here is Cam. What's his name? Go get him. And
But
we didn't.
that's a coaching thing as well.
100%.
That's a coaching thing as
One,
well, right? That has to be part of
100%.
the game plan or part of the adjustment if it wasn't part of the game plan.
Yep. You could hear that. You could hear the announcers even talk about it, how he can't jump. He's not moving this way. He's not doing these things. He'll do it on offense, but on defense, mm-mm. And he's trying to save himself. He's trying to get to to the finish line. His knees are both shot. And with a player like that, you have to attack him and go at him for better or for worse, because you'll
For
see him
sure.
again.
For sure. East Blue Drew, we need to talk about the defense. That's our biggest um, issue. Yeah, the defense has been off. I think this Nick team is capable of playing better defense. We talked about this at length yesterday. I don't think this is a top 10 defensive team, but I think they can be better than they have been. And we've seen them. We've seen them play better defense, so they are capable. Bob Solo running a 3-2 defense and trap deeper in the half and cutting off passing lanes. Also, Embiid wasn't jumping, attacked the rim, but Knicks missed a good shot. Yeah, appreciate you, Bob Solo. D Grant 63. Boston is coming on strong. So gotta worry. You're absolutely right. Whenever I look,
Yep.
D Grant, I'm looking to
Mhm.
see where the Knicks are compared to Detroit. Like one time we were like just a game, then it was a game and a half. Now it's 2.5. You're absolutely right. Now that I'm looking, we're just a half a game ahead of Boston, who've won
Yep.
three. We've lost three straight. They've won three straight. They're in third place and a half a game behind. Um, half a game behind the Knicks. So Yeah.
It's
Why in the world
this
is
is
Mike
tough.
Brown still? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said this has been tough. They're on our back. I watch it too, so I'm like, this is not good for us. And I can't. And I've watched a few of these Boston games. It's it's hard to see how they're winning, but they're winning more so with hustle than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. Why in the world is Mike Brown still running a double big? It doesn't work. I mean, how many minutes did we run a double big, David Smith? I get it's not like we're running a double big for 38 minutes, right? I don't think I think it's fine to have some minutes where they play together. You know what I mean? That's part of having lineup versatility. You know, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of it. Um, but I get it. You want to have more length out there with Embiid. Maybe he started it. He didn't want Cat starting out on Embiid getting into foul trouble. So maybe he wanted Mitchell Robinson to have that assignment right from the top. But how many minutes did they play? I think Cat got ample minutes, at the five without Mitchell Robinson.
Well,
The
to
flip
be
side of
honest with
it,
that, that was the two because he got two fouls real quick, so that eliminated that quickly.
right, 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 right. Um, okay. That's what happened to the Knicks. Also, our starters, Bridges and OG, look overworked with their new roles. Also, no one is coming to the ball besides Brunson. How are you overworked? Like, this is the less minutes these guys have. Like, this is what we were talking about with Thibodeau, right? These guys were playing, particularly when guys are injured. When team is whole, it's one thing, but when teams are injured, those guys' minutes went up. Like, there was time Josh Hart was playing 48 minutes, like 3 games in a row, right? Um, these guys last night, OG did play 37 minutes. Both OG and Mikal Bridges played
Yeah,
37 minutes. All right. I mean, so if you're saying 37 minutes is a lot, Karl Anthony Towns played just 34. Brunson played 35. Yeah, those two guys played 37 minutes. And then they have they're defending the best players on the team. So, okay. All right. I guess it's fair for those two players.
yeah, we
Sherwin,
got
if
to
you
be
go man
better.
for man, the 76ers is more talented than the Knicks at every position. All right. All right. Maybe they are
Where's the
still
silly?
tired from last year.
Where's the silly? Stop it, Wiz.
Tibbs built them to be rain, sleet, or snow. We never have that excuse of being tired ever. Maxey is averaging 40 minutes a game. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he look good.
Yeah,
Maxie looks like he look good. He look good.
yeah. Kevin Berg. I was paying very close attention to the last 2 games. Defense is the most glaring issue, in my opinion. We will get better, in my opinion. I think so too. I think we're capable of being better. Yeah, I feel we need another ball handler. I know people be killing me for this. I feel like we need another ball handler. Neither OG or Bridges help with ball handling. Earlier in the season, they did. Like early in the season, Mikal would bring the ball up the court.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
we would pass it up the court. This was like maybe 2 weeks. Pass it up the court. We was over half
Yep.
court within 3, 4, 5 seconds. Right.
Yep.
We're kind of reverting. We're kind of reverting back. But it could be that those guys are not good ball handlers. It's one thing that you bringing the ball up with no pressure. It's another thing bringing the ball up the court against pressure. And when we played San Antonio the first time, I thought Mikal Bridges was exposed as far as handling with pressure. Because I was thinking, I think we're good. We can use another ball handler, but Mikal Bridges can bring the ball up. Brunson they can take turns. It doesn't have to be Brunson all the time. When they put that pressure on Mikal Bridges, that handle looked a bit shaky to me. So, and it was high. I was like, wow. So maybe we're reverting back to Brunson bringing the ball up because he's the most steady ball handler. I don't know. I think that's something we have to figure out.
Yeah, but continuity on defense is definitely a big thing, and the last couple of weeks is players in, players out, players in, players out, players in, players out. We got another player that might come back next game here, because if he was rated as a game time decision, Shamit. So Shamit may return as well too.
I missed
Yesterday
that.
he was early in the day. Yeah, early in the day he was a game time decision up until about because when we were on the show with Ron early on, he was game time decision. Came closer to about 4:00, then you saw that he was out. So he's got to be getting close.
I agree with Kev. The defense sucks. Annabelle one, Deuce is a ball handler. His handle has definitely gotten better, and I have seen him, bring it up some against pressure. But when I say a ball handler, it's not just somebody that's bringing it up over half court. That's part of it, but somebody that can initiate action, somebody that can get in the key and create for themselves and create for others. And he can do that a bit. I don't think he's at his best that way.
Not yet.
Mm-hmm. Jeremy's house. Remember last year when the Knicks lost every regular season game to the top teams? They can figure this out. Oh, I have another super chat. Oh, okay. Thank you, Davis. Oh, it was yours. It was yours. Okay, Davis Smith. I appreciate you. If the coach and Brunson continue to misuse and disrespect Cat, then if I'm Cat, then I demand a trade. They are ruining Cat's career. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, David Smith. First of all, it's about the Knicks. It's not about Cat and his career, right? I agree that we can get more out of Cat. We got to figure it out. I don't think last night is that game. I thought he got a lot of touches last night. He took 16 shots. He took 12 free throws, and those are usually on attempts, right? So there were even more field goal attempts than the 16. I thought we could have used him differently to try to, hunt Embiid. But in terms of touches, he got touches. He got touches last night. It's not about Cat. It's about the Knicks. Can we use Cat in such a way that makes the Knicks better? That's the focus for me, not on Cat per se. Ruining his career. Everybody knows who Cat is. This is his 11th season. DX Relish, appreciate you. Philly fan dropping in. Ain't no defenders for Maxey and Embiid. It didn't look like it last night. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think the league, but too also, the Embiid, the antics, the league needs to do something about that. That's a lot of what he's doing is just ridiculous flopping, barely getting touched. The guy's laid out on the floor, and, he laughs about it because he knows what he's doing. There's sometimes where he does get some point of an initial point of foul, but it's the over theatrics of it, how he falls out and does all of this. I thought the league was trying to clean that up, but with him, they allow it. And to me, it's shameful because those flops are ridiculous.
Yeah. Heroic Av So Super. David Smith, we all want Cat to be aggressive, but that's been the narrative his whole career. Cat needs to take 17 to 23 shots with 3 to 6 3-point attempts. He would force the double and be able to pass the open lanes. Okay. All right, we about to get out of here. Andrew K. Knicks are still loaded. If they can tighten up the defense, they got this. Knicks are a real good team. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think they're slumping offensively. how much of that is just poor shooting? How much of that is, what other teams are doing or have figured out? Could be a little bit. It could be a little bit of both. Any last words? Anything else you want to say?
Let's just say, this game's coming up. Like you said, boom, you blink an eye, and we got a game tomorrow. So ain't no time for rest for the weary. And if they tied, they better drink an energy drink. They better drink a Red Bull because Detroit is coming. It's another game, and we've got to, like you say, focus down on defense. And we got to stop letting, people who average 2 to 3 3-pointers a game all of a sudden hit 5 or 6 or 7 on us. We've got to recognize that early and, stop allowing some of these guys to get in the rhythms. And I think that's what turns around and hurts us. Edgecombe, right? He's not known to be a 3-point shooter like that. He lit us up last night from the 3 line. So, we got to recognize it early. We got to play with more desperation, and have, especially at home. It's harder on the road because it's harder to hear. But on defense on our end, we've got to, have a better, conduit. It's got to be a better connective point on the string. Got to be. It's hurting us.
Knicks Nation, Maxey gets his buckets easier than Brunson. JB has to learn to use his team as an offensive weapon more. Cat does the same thing, and that's why Cat does get the call. I don't think Cat's get. He does get the call, but he can go to the line 40 times. As much as he gets hit. I will say though, Maxey has more ball handlers around him. He has more players that can, he could play, he could bring it up himself, he could play off a little more. I'm not sure Brunson has that. Anyway, Knick Nation, thank you so much for joining me today. I really I could have held it down if I needed to, but I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I'm a poor replacement of Jeff, but I'm here.
You were on point. You were on point. You were on
I'm
point.
here if you need me.
Yeah, anytime. That link you have is the forever link. So anytime you want to hop on, you can hop on. 2 different links for 2 different shows.
Gotcha. Yeah,
but definitely appreciate you. Appreciate your takes. When we got off the last show, the weekly show, Jeff was like, "Wow, he's good." I said he is, right? I said I recruited him. I was listening to him on Knicks Real Talk, and I'm like, "Oh, I gotta get Knick Nation on the show." I don't know. Let me see.
I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm trying to educate myself and get better each time. So I appreciate you guys definitely for allowing me to come onto your platform. Much appreciated.
It was a good episode. Great show. So I definitely appreciate you. Shout out to the chat, the replay gang, the silent listeners. It's always a pleasure. We play Monday. We probably won't do the weekly pregame show because we play at 7. Is it 7 or 7:30 we play?
Sure.
Detroit. So I'll see.
Okay.
But we'll be back Tuesday 12:30 lunchtime to talk 12:30 to talk about this Detroit game. Oh man, Knicks have lost 3 straight. We limping into Detroit. But hopefully that's a get right game.
Oh, listen, we need to get right because otherwise it's going to be a lot of suicide watch if we lose this game 4 in a row.
Oh my goodness. Me and Jeff always say, is this going to be a praise meeting or is this going to be a therapy show? If we lose, Monday 4 straight,
forget
and that game is in Detroit.
Yep. The house will be burning. So
Tuesday, man. Yeah. It's going to be, it's going to be a problem. But anyway, I appreciate everybody. Until next time, peace.
Sister, you're one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at?
Dope Soul.